Now at 5, we're going to check out the demolition of the historic Asbury coal power plant. Plus, Freeman Health holds an academy for students interested in medicine. And
the Supreme Court rules against affirmative action in college admissions. I'm Natalie Brand with reaction to the decision, plus what it could mean for universities moving forward.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A quick series of blasts in a southwest Missouri fixture for more than half a century comes to the ground as a crew implodes the Asbury power plant. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. This morning's implosion used almost 1,700 pieces of dynamite and other explosives. Authorities say the blast safely brought down one power plant, one air pollution control system building, and 2 original concrete and brick stacks in less than 20 seconds. Over the summer, the area is going to be cleaned to prepare for its future use. The steel that's now on the ground will be cut and recycled.
You know, the Asbury plant will live on somewhere. It may live in hundreds of different places in the future.
It's not, again, something that you see every day, and it is a part of our history. It's how we generated electricity for a long time, and it's an old way of generating electricity and bringing in a different way.
Commissioned in 1970, the plant generated coal-powered energy. The plant was removed from service in March of 2020. It was replaced in part by the North Fork Wind Farm, which is within sight of the Asbury plant. We're going to hear stories of people who worked at that power plant tonight at 6. Hot day out there. Let's check in with meteorologist Sam Lane.
You're right, Dow. It's been a hot one across the area, record-setting, in fact, across the region. And tomorrow, pretty much the same. This says Thursday, but this is actually for tomorrow as well. Extreme on the UV index, and that means you can be outside in less than 10 minutes and start to experience sunburn. So you definitely need the hat, sunglasses, sunscreen, of course. Find the shade and stay out of the outside if you can. One of the places to do that is the lakes, and right now Grand Lake is looking great, right at normal. And over in Table Rock, we're looking at conditions about a foot above normal, but still not bad. And then up at Stockton, they're a little bit more, about a foot and 1/10 above normal, but not too bad. So a great place to go out this weekend for the lakes. And if you're looking at the 4th of July forecast, we're looking at temperatures in the 60s in the morning, lower 90s in the afternoon, with maybe some scattered thunderstorms around. We'll talk more about that in our forecast in just a bit.
See you soon. Freeman Hospital is giving high school students a unique experience this summer. Freeman Health Academy includes job shadowing, CPR certification, treatment and scenarios and more. It teaches the students health care and patient care, all while allowing them to experience the career path they desire.
At the end of the academy, they do a Stop the Bleed course, which is what they're getting ready to do now, which is kind of a first-hand triage type class. And they always have the option to do a basic life-saving skills certification the Friday following the academy. So it's 4 days of job shadows, tours, speakers, being exposed to all the different careers in Freeman.
The applications for next year come out at the beginning of April, and students should contact their school for more information. Automated technology company today hosted a Smart City Symposium in Joplin. Featured industry experts from different companies discussing new tech innovations designed to improve the everyday lives of residents.
Create some dialogue and introduce some new concepts to the local economy and the local leaders, elected officials, city planners, mayors. We just invited all the regional city folks to come in and just say, hey, here's what's out there, here's what's possible.
The free symposium was held at the Joplin Family Worship Center. Today's Supreme Court decision regarding affirmative action on college campuses is reverberating throughout Washington, as well as colleges and universities all across the United States. Natalie Brand is at the Supreme Court with reaction.
Demonstrators gathered outside the Supreme Court Thursday after justices ruled race-conscious admissions programs at Harvard and the University of North Carolina violate the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment.
I know today's court decision is a severe disappointment to so many people, including me, but we cannot let the decision be a permanent setback for the country.
Activists who argued the university's affirmative action policies discriminated against white and Asian American applicants hailed the ruling as a victory.
From today, all children will be judged by the content of their character and also by their merit, not by color of their skin.
In her dissent, Justice Sonia Sotomayor wrote the decision rolls back decades of precedent and momentous progress. As recently as 2016, the Supreme Court upheld using race as a factor in college admissions. Since then, the court's makeup has shifted sharply to the right with a 6-3 conservative majority. Writing for the court, Chief Justice John Roberts said universities can still consider an applicant's discussion of how race affected his or her life, be it through discrimination, inspiration, or otherwise.
So we might see colleges and universities put more weight, for instance, on where did you grow up? Do your parents have graduate degrees? What zip code did you grow up in?
Both UNC and Harvard said they will comply with the court's ruling, but are still committed to bringing together students with different life experiences. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, the Supreme Court.
Now, we reached out to both Missouri Southern and Pitt State to learn how today's ruling might impact their admissions, and we are still waiting for a response. The Supreme Court still has more big rulings to come this term, including President Biden's student loan forgiveness program to erase or reduce debt for tens of millions of Americans. Still ahead, staying safe while celebrating Independence Day.
Safety experts say leave the elaborate fireworks to the pros this 4th of July. I'm Skyler Henry with a look at just how dangerous the celebrations can be.
And next in Health Watch, why experts warn that your migraines could get worse this summer. Topping today's Health Watch, more than 120 million Americans are not breathing easy today. Dangerous air qualities caused by major Canadian wildfires remain for residents from Des Moines, Iowa, all the way to Washington, D.C. According to IQ Air, as of last night, Chicago and Detroit had the worst air conditions worldwide. Officials say the smoke affected visibility in the Ohio Valley and Great Lakes regions, and numerous events from Minnesota to Pennsylvania had to be canceled as a result of those wildfires. Americans love to celebrate the 4th of July with family, friends, food, and fireworks. The Consumer Product Safety Commission wants everyone to celebrate safely, reinforcing it's best to leave the pretty displays to the professionals. Reporter Skyler Henry spoke with a Tennessee man who's warning others about the dangers.
My bones were broken.
This 4th of July holiday marks 1 year since Josh Beal was severely injured when a firework malfunctioned.
As soon as I lit the fuse, it went off. I couldn't even move. And it took the whole top of my hand off. And it got my ear.
There was blood everywhere.
Josh spent 8 days in a trauma center and needed 3 extensive surgeries.
It's the worst thing I've ever been through.
He had some really bad PTSD, and I think it was the dark, because all that happened in the dark.
New data from the Consumer Product Safety Commission shows more than 10,000 fireworks-related injuries last year, 73% during the month around the 4th of July holiday. 11 people died.
The most common injuries were caused by firecrackers, sparklers, and mortars.
This demonstration shows how devastating injuries can be.
If you are going to have fireworks, light them one at a time on a flat surface. Have a bucket of water just in case there's a problem. Never relight a dud.
I would say I have anywhere from 75 to 80% of my strength back.
The Beals want others to know even if you take every precaution like they did, things can go wrong.
I hope if anything out of all this, I can save somebody this year or make somebody think twice about being safer about fireworks. I would not want anybody to see somebody go through what I went through.
It's a great holiday and we love for what it stands for, but leave the pyro shows to the professionals.
That is the safest way to enjoy fireworks on the 4th. Skyler Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Of the nearly dozen fireworks deaths reported last year, the victims ranged from ages 11 to 43 years. Your migraines might get worse in the summer. A headache specialist with Cleveland's Clinic says as the seasons change, so does the air pressure. They say in extreme weather conditions, such as a storm, a person's sinuses might be affected, causing a migraine. When it comes to treatment options, the headache specialist recommends medication therapy, or dietary and other lifestyle changes. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, some tips for you to avoid being scammed while traveling this summer.
And we are tracking the summer heat across the area, and I'll let you know what the weekend looks like, including the holiday, when we come back. Well, I think we're running out of adjectives to describe the weather over the last few days. One thing for sure, it's been hot, and that included today. Right now at Seneca, Missouri at Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, bright blue sunny skies, just a few high thin cirrus clouds way off in the distance, not really helping out with the temperatures all that much. How high did we get today? Well, how about 103? That ties the record set back in 1952. The low was only 79, and of course we're way behind on the rainfall for the month and also for the year. Let's take a look at the radar. We do have some storms, but they're way out in western Kansas, some severe weather in southeastern Colorado, in fact a tornado watch for northern parts of Colorado. So they've been more in a springtime pattern, and we have been under the heat dome for the last several days. In fact, we have a heat advisory in effect. That goes until 7 o'clock tonight. That includes southeastern Kansas counties, southwest Missouri, and the heat advisory goes until 9 o'clock in the rest of southeastern Kansas. And look at the excessive heat warning for northeast Oklahoma. That goes until 9 o'clock tonight. So we're going to have one more day of really excessive heat, and then we're going to see some changes in our forecast. But right now, check out these temperatures. These are the actual temperatures, not the heat index. Right now, 105 Iola, 105 in Chanute, 101 in Parsons, 103 in Pittsburgh. It's just hot across the entire area. And when you factor in the dew point and the humidity, it's even worse. 107 in Fort Scott, Nevada, and Stockton, 103 in Neosho, 109 in Veneta and Nowata. So definitely stay indoors if you can. The heat index values are going to be a little bit better as we go through tomorrow. And as you can see tomorrow, we're going to be only in the low 100s as far as the heat index, as temperatures are going to be close to 100. Rain chances, unfortunately, are going to be pretty low. But then as we go through Friday night and Saturday morning, we could see some storms across our area, especially on Saturday. In fact, here's a look at the rainfall forecast. As we go through time, by Saturday evening, you can see a lot of areas will be around 1/3 of an inch or more in some of the heavier storms. So we do have some relief on the way, but we're going to have to wait another day before it gets here. In fact, there might be some severe weather on Saturday, especially up towards the north and east around Stockton Lake. A marginal risk across most of the area, so we'll have to keep an eye on that for you. Forecast for tonight, it's going to be warm. Temperatures dropping down into the upper 70s to around 80 degrees. And then as we go through tomorrow, once again hot, with temperatures above 100, especially to the north and west. A little bit cooler down in Oklahoma and northwest Arkansas, but still upper 90s. Then as we go into Saturday, more cloudiness, and notice we have some scattered showers and storms in the area with lows in the 70s. And then in the afternoon, those scattered thunderstorms will still be around, especially up towards the north. Some of those, again, could be strong or severe with highs in the 90s. And then as we go Sunday morning, as you head out to services, we're looking at temperatures in the 60s and lower 70s, so a little bit of a break. Ridge of high pressure in control right now. It's going to shrink a little bit and shove off towards the south and east. That's going to allow pieces of energy to roll in from the north and west, giving us a little bit of a break. But not tomorrow. We're going to be looking at an alert day tomorrow with a temperature of 100 degrees, which, by the way, would tie the record, and then only 88 Dow on Sunday, and then 93 on Monday. And look at the 4th of July, 92 with scattered thunderstorms possible. It's not going to be a washout, but there will be storms around. And then look at that, 87 on next Thursday, and actually closer to normal. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, normal sounding pretty good right now.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Sam. The U.S. Coast Guard says presumed human remains have been recovered from the wreck of the Titan submersible. U.S. medical professionals will conduct a formal analysis of the remains as they sift through the debris collected from the ocean floor. The crew of 5 people on board are all believed to have been killed, of course, by the implosion. The Horizon Arctic, the ship carrying the debris, returned to a Canadian port yesterday. Coming up, we're going to take a look at what you can expect to spend for your 4th of July festivities. Topping today's Consumer Watch, economic growth has been revised higher for the first quarter, up to a 2% annual rate from the estimate of 1.3%. The reading is still weaker than the previous quarter. The Commerce Department's report says consumer spending in the quarter rose at a 4.2% pace. That's the most since the spring of 2021. This year's 4th of July cookout's expected to cost you a little less The American Farm Bureau Federation predicts a party of 10 people will cost $67.73. That is a 3% decrease from the record high set last year. Farm Bureau says despite the small drop, prices are still very high because of sharp increases in recent years. Prices for hamburger buns, beef, and potato salad saw increases this year. Summer travel is underway, and unfortunately, criminals see it as an opportunity to rip people off. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger has tips to avoid being scammed.
Travel fraud is one of the biggest money makers for criminals, and they often start with an old scheme, luring you with a free vacation. Many of these fake offers are light on details, and the promoter often rushes you to make a quick decision. A huge red flag is when someone asks you to pay by wire transfer, gift card, or crypto. If you send money to a scammer this way, it's almost impossible to get it back. If you're planning an overseas trip, you may see sites offering to help with an international travel visa, passport, or other documents. They often charge high fees and are just copycats of the Department of State's website. Avoid the fees by going directly to travel.state.gov. And if you're buying travel insurance, go to ustia.org. That's the website for the U.S. Travel Insurance Association. Verify that the agency is licensed. Finally, if you fall victim to a travel scam, report it to the Federal Trade Commission at reportfraud.ftc.gov. In New York, I'm CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
You can also report travel fraud to your state attorney general. United Airlines is calling all hands on deck to get out ahead of its multi-day schedule meltdown. The airline has been canceling more flights than any other airline since Saturday. According to FlightAware, more than 2,400 United flights have been canceled and more than 5,500 have been delayed. United reports off-duty flight attendants are now calling in from all across the country to staff open trips. Pilots are getting aircraft moving. Contact center teams are working overtime, and airport customer service staff are working to deliver bags and board flights. The rear seats might be the least safe spot in most small pickup trucks. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety says none of the 5 compact pickup trucks in its collision test received a good rating. The 2022 to 2023 Jeep Gladiator, 2022 to 23 Toyota Tacoma, and the 2022 Chevrolet Colorado all received poor ratings. The 2022 to 2023 Ford Ranger was graded marginal, which is the second to lowest rating. A final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, how an unusually warm winter is impacting the Georgia peach crop. Then on KOAM News at 6, the Neosho County Attorney is removed from a murder case for a potential conflict of interest. Plus, we're going to have more on the demolition of that historic Asbury coal power plant, and a multi-million-dollar donation will help build a new baseball stadium in Carthage after the old stadium was deemed unsafe. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. All right, look at this. It is smaller than a grain of sea salt, and it just sold for more than $63,000 at auction. What is it? Well, it's this microscopic fluorescent yellowish green handbag, barely visible to the human eye. MSCHF, the Brooklyn Art House, created it based on a popular Louis Vuitton design. The tiny replica can reportedly fit through the eye of a needle. The object was sold alongside a microscope equipped with a digital display so you can actually see that bag. Yes, it's tiny. The consolation is once you buy that, you're not going to have any cash left to put it in it anyway. So
right, what would you do?
Good. Well, it's very fashionable. You carry it around in your fingerprint. The weather.
Oh, brother, we have some hot weather to talk about tomorrow. We're going to be tying a record. Storms on Saturday, cooler next week.
Thanks for joining us. See you at 6. Let's make it a great evening.